I still think that the Eminence in Shadow is one of the funniest and dumbest isekai parodies to come out recently, but despite what you might think of the series, you have to admit the characters are the best part about it, especially when it comes to the seemingly psychotic protagonist Cid Kagenou. And since I already did a video about the secret organization Shadow Garden, I wanted to take an in-depth look at the founder himself. So in this video, we'll be exploring his character to find out his backstory and just how powerful this crazy chunnibyo actually is. Also, this video will contain spoilers for the Eminence in Shadow, so here's a spoiler warning just in case, and if you enjoyed this video or you want more content like this, be sure to give the video a like as well as subscribing to the channel, it helps a lot.
僕が金になびく男に見えるとでも
見えるわ
その通りだ
To start, who is Cid Kagenou? Well, before he was reincarnated in another world, he was known as Kagenou Minoru in his previous life, and ever since he was young, he has been inspired by TV shows, video games, and other stories to become an eminence in the shadows, someone that secretly controls and influences society from behind the scenes. And to achieve this goal, he dedicated his entire life studying to expand his knowledge and training in multiple forms of martial arts to improve his fighting capabilities, while often portraying himself as a so-called mob character to be as mediocre as possible. But besides normal training, he would also attack random gangs to help improve and test his overall skills. And it was during one of his training nights that he witnessed his classmate Akane Nishino being kidnapped, so he decided to follow the perpetrators thinking it might be good for practice. He fought the kidnappers and he eventually defeated them to free Akane before leaving. However, this experience caused him to realize the limitations of his physical abilities, knowledge and skill, so he turned to more occult solutions like magic. Sadly, magic doesn't really exist in his world, and during one of his training sessions, he suffered from a concussion, so he ran towards a source of light, thinking that it was his magic awakening, but it was simply Truck-kun, and you should know what happened next. Now, after his death, he was reincarnated in another world as Cid Kagenou, the son of a noble family of Black Knights, and he would discover that the magic he seeks existed in this new world. With the means to achieve his dreams possible, he spent his entire childhood following the same training routine of his previous world with some additional tasks like working on his magic and swordsmanship skills. Cid also created various inventions to help achieve some of his initial goals like the slime bodysuit, which was made using the corpses of Rimuro's family. This piece of attire has high magic conductivity, so it can be freely manipulated by users, and it even helps to boost their overall strength. And when Cid was testing out the slime bodysuit on a bunch of bandits, he discovered a rotting individual suffering from demon possession. Because he sensed the body possessed a large amount of magical power, he decided to perform various tests on the body, and after countless experiments, he was able to somehow heal the individual, revealing it to be a female elf. Thinking she might be useful, he fabricated a false story about her being a descendant of the three heroes that defeated the demon Diablos, how her bloodline was cursed with demon possession, and how the cult of Diablos are responsible for altering history and secretly trying to revive the demon. But unbeknownst to Cid, everything that he said turned out to be true. It was after hearing the story that the elf girl swore fealty to Cid and decided to help him eliminate the cult. Cid would then give her the name Alpha, and this was the moment that Shadow Garden was officially formed. He also took on the moniker of Shadow to really keep with the chunnibyo aesthetic. That said, Cid trained Alpha in both magic and swordsmanship for the next couple of years, and they eventually rescued 6 other girls who suffered from demon possession as well, even recruiting them into Shadow Garden. So if you want to know more about them, feel free to check out my video on the entire organization of Shadow Garden. But in any case, he gave them all names Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Zeta and Eta, and trained them as well. He even shared some of the knowledge from his previous life with the girls called Shadow's Wisdom, which would eventually become quite important to the betterment of society in this world. But moving on, Cid and Shadow Garden had their first encounter with the cult of Diablos after his sister Claire Kagenou was kidnapped by them. He was able to discover her location through sheer luck, so they attacked the cult's hideout, and when he was separated from the girls, he had encountered Viscount Oba, a member of the cult. And despite taking the Diablos drug, Oba was still easily defeated by Cid. After Claire was rescued, Cid spent the next couple of years separated from Alpha and the other girls because they wanted to expand the strength and influence of Shadow Garden, although he would be reunited with them again when he enrolled in the Midgard Royal Spellsword Academy. Now let's go over the events that occurred afterwards, and even as a student, he still maintained a mediocre persona as a mob character, even befriending Hiro and Jaga, true Born background characters. However, his mob character status was briefly disrupted when he became entangled in the affairs of Princess Alexia Midgard after he was bribed into having a relationship with her. And when Alexia was kidnapped by the cult, he would gain more attention because he was the main suspect, but wanting to support his image as a mob character, he didn't even fight back and allowed himself to be tortured. Later, Cid in his shadow persona along with Shadow Garden launched a simultaneous attack on the various hideouts that belonged to the cult. He also found Alexia and fought against Xenon Griffey, a member of the cult, although the battle was one-sided, and Shadow ended the battle with his ultimate technique to completely annihilate Xenon along with the surroundings. So after the incident with Alexia, Cid was able to live out another one of his fantasies, to have terrorists attack your school, which definitely doesn't sound like something a sane person would want. But anyways, because the cult sealed the magic of all the students, Cid wanted to be the first casualty since it was fitting for a mock character, so he pretended to be killed while trying to protect Rose Oriana. He also did this because he wanted to move freely as Shadow without being suspected, and once everyone left, he observed the cult members around the school. He also secretly protected Sherry Barnett from any cult members and helped her to complete building an artifact that countered the magic seal. With the magic seal gone, Cid and Shadow Garden launched the counterattack to rescue the students. He would then confront Lieutenant Barnett to expose his true identity and manipulation of his stepdaughter Sherry, but he pretended to be killed again only to return as Shadow to battle the vice principal. And although Lutheran was powered by the artifact, Shadow still easily defeated him, but unfortunately, Sherry was there to witness Shadow murdering her stepfather. Now, with the events at the school resolved, Cid later traveled to the Holy Land of Limworm after receiving a message from Alpha, and when he arrived, he received a coded message from Beta who was in her Natsume persona, but he couldn't understand what she wrote. However, he would later receive a direct mission report from Epsilon anyways, so he was still able to understand the situation. Now, during the trial of the goddess, he was entered into the trial because of Rose without his knowledge, and afraid he might be exposed, he decided to appear as Shadow. When he entered the arena, he was able to summon Aurora, the Wish of Calamity, a powerful individual from the distant past. The two would then battle, and although she managed to impress Shadow with her fighting capabilities, he still easily defeated her, and he subsequently made his exit. Now, at the outskirts of the city, he was forced to enter a doorway where he would meet and imprison Aurora. He released her from her chains, and they'll fight their way through to the center of the sanctuary in order to free her completely. When they arrived at the center, they encountered Archbishop Nelson, who summoned clones of the hero Olivia to stop Cid, but with his technique I am the All-Range Atomic, he destroyed the entire sanctuary along with Nelson and quite possibly killed some citizens of Limworm in the process as well. But he doesn't really care about that, so he bids farewell to the free Aurora, and before she disappeared, she gave Cid a final warning to kill her if they should ever meet again, because she was also known as the Demon Diablos. After the events at Limworm, Cid decided to act out another one of his fantasies, to be a mysterious fighter who is supposedly weak but will shock everyone with his true strength. And to do this, he enlisted the help of Gamma and the Mitsugoshi Company to change his appearance into Jimina Sennan so that he can register for the Bushin Festival. When the tournament started, he easily passed through the initial rounds and eventually reaching the quarterfinals after defeating Godo Kimeki and Quinton. Also during this particular event, Rose became a wanted criminal for an assassination attempt on her fiancé, Perth Assad, and Cid decided to use this as an excuse to avoid his sister Claire, so he went looking for Rose. With information provided by Epsilon, he was able to locate Rose, and appearing in his shadow persona, he offered her the power to achieve her goals, which the princess accepts. Now, after meeting with Rose, Cid was forced by his sister to watch her match from a special sitting section where he would become acquainted with Iris Midgar and the goddess of war Beatrix. Although he later left to fight Aneros as Jimina and prepare for his next match against Iris, considered to be the greatest swordsman in Midgar. Regardless, Jimina still easily defeated her to claim victory, but the tournament was disrupted by the appearance of Rose, who killed her father, the king of Oriana. And seeing this as the perfect chance to make his entrance, Jimina stopped Rose, who was trying to commit suicide, and revealed himself as Shadow, finally fulfilling one of his fantasies. He convinced Rose to keep fighting and helped her to escape, and before he left as well, he fought both Beatrix and Iris at the same time, but they were completely overwhelmed by his immense strength, showing again how insanely overpowered Cid actually is. Having said that, the Bushin Festival ended, and because Cid missed Claire's fight, he was dragged to join her expedition in hunting down the Queen of Blood in Outlaw City. With no say in the matter, he decided to just go with it, thinking it would be a good chance to make some money, so when they arrived, he left his sister and changing into Shadow, he started to farm the corpses of the ghouls for valuables. He eventually made his way to the Red Tower where he met two of Outlaw City's monarchs, Juggernaut and Yukime. After quickly disposing Watchdog, he entered the tower and headed straight for the treasure room to gather as much money as he could. However, he did not just want riches, he also wanted to defeat the Queen of Blood, and on his way to her chambers, he kicked Juggernaut down the tower, saving his sister in the process. He eventually found the room, and after defeating the Vampire Crimson, he was disappointed that the Queen was nowhere to be found, so he went back to the treasure room to take more gold. When the Queen of Blood did resurrect, Shadow made a grand appearance to protect his sister and everyone, but because he was carrying too much gold, he was struggling to fight back. So he was forced to throw away the gold, but like every opponent he faced so far, he easily defeated the queen with I am recovering atomic while healing everyone present as well. Sadly, he lost all the gold, managing to only keep a small amount, and he also thought that his sister was now in her chunnibyo phase, which was honestly just too funny. Nevertheless, they left Outlaw City, but Cid would soon return as Shadow to meet with Yukime during the Great Trade Alliance conflict. During this arc, Shadow decided to work with Yukime to fulfill another one of his crazy dreams, to betray your friends only for them to find out you did it to save them in the end. Shadow would take up the new alias of John Smith, and he came up with a plan to produce counterfeit bills to collapse the financial market. And while Yukime's Snow Fox Corporation was producing the bills, Cid decided to spend some time hunting with Delta, which was quite wholesome in a somewhat sadistic way. But anyways, they released the counterfeit bills into circulation, and John Smith would confront the numbers of Shadow Garden while guarding the transport carts, and he easily drove them away. Alpha then sent Delta to handle him instead, but she easily recognized his true identity, so Cid had to send her away on a top secret mission to eliminate Juggernaut. Poor dude just got targeted for no reason. Also, trying to seem cool and mysterious, Cid gave an encrypted message containing his real intentions to Beta, but he'll regret that decision later on. Now, thinking that Delta was killed, Alpha decided to handle John Smith herself, but she eventually identified her master as well. They both fought, and surprisingly, Alpha managed to leave a scratch on Cid, but he still easily defeated her. With that, the circulation of the counterfeit bills succeeded, and John along with Yukime managed to accumulate a large amount of money. However, it was all taken away by Shadow Garden because Etta managed to decipher his encrypted message, so according to them, Cid was their savior when in reality he just wanted to keep the money for himself. But in any case, Cid assumed it was Getan who took it when he kidnapped Yukime, so he located Getan and beat the crap out of him. And misunderstanding Getan's final wishes, he kept searching for the gold with help from Delta, but he soon gave up and left for the Oriana Kingdom to check up on Rose instead, not knowing that she had joined Shadow Garden previously. Now, in the Oriana Kingdom, he discovered Rose's engagement with Perth Asshat, so he wanted to interfere with the wedding, and with help from Epsilon, who was known as the famous pianist Ceylon, he was able to enter the castle as her apprentice. He also met Perth Asshat and stole the key to the weapon Black Rose without knowing its importance. He later tried to convince Rose to fight against the marriage, but after learning about the truth that she was being held hostage, he decided to interfere on the wedding day, and after he left, he accidentally dropped the key inside Rose's room. On the wedding day, Rose revealed the truth about Perth Asshat, but the cult sent Mordred, the ninth seed in the Knights of the Round, to eliminate all the witnesses, so he activated Black Rose to release hordes of obsidian beasts upon the capital. When Shadow along with members of Shadow Garden arrived to suppress the outbreak, Mordred also summoned Ragnarok, king of the 4th demon realm, and Shadow would engage the creature in battle. But as expected, Shadow eliminated Ragnarok with ease and soon returned to completely annihilate Mordred as well. However, his I'm Atomic technique caused the Black Rose to become unstable, and thinking that the swirling black hole looked cool, he decided to jump in, proving again that he isn't exactly the sanest person. But anyways, Beta would then follow Shadow and they were both transported to Japan, Cid's former world. But the place has been ravaged by magical beasts, and remnants of humanity now live in small communities that constantly fight each other for resources. Now, not much happened for this particular story, although Cid did meet his former classmate Akane Nishino again and discover what happened to the world, and he also helped to deal with the magical beasts that were threatening the home base of the Messiah as the Black Knight. Eventually, through Beta's research, they were able to find a way back home, and before they left, Akane was caused to go on a rampage by Dr. Yuka, but Cid was able to stop her and save her yet again. So with that, Beta opened the portal back home and they both returned home safely, although Beta did kidnap Akane to study her. And after returning home, Cid was apparently rushing back to the school, although the reasons are unknown. Additionally, it seems like something happened to Rose, and Cid will likely be involved with her again in the future.
鞘から抜かれし聖剣は輝く刃を解き放ち混沌の園へ旅立つだろう。
But yeah, that's basically the full story of Cid Kagenou or Shadow, and for now I think this is a good stopping off point. We'll continue this in part 2 where we take a look at his powers and abilities in more detail, so look forward to that. Hopefully you enjoyed this part 1 for how powerful is Cid Kagenou or Shadow, and if you did, be sure to give it a like and comment down below what you think of Cid. And to know when part 2 comes out, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe everyone.